Okay, please start.
Okay, my name is Jonas. I'm going to be the editor, yeah, from the documentary.
I'm Lydia. I'll be doing the cinematography.
And I'm Ben, and I'm going to be directing and producing.
So the title for our project is Watching the World Go By. It's going to be an observational, performative format.
The story of our documentary is about my sister. You can see just here, Laura. And the story is about how she's lost a lot from a disease that she suffers with called ME. ME is something that causes severe tiredness, both physically and mentally, to the individual suffering with it. They don't know what causes it. They have theories about it, whether it's psychiatric or stress-related, so on, and there's no cure for it at the moment.
And why unique is because this disease affects everybody in a different way. You get different grades of ME. Also because it's family, we get access to her and all too much footage, like archive footage, so we can put it in the documentary.
There's a lot at stake with it. Laura's vulnerability being the biggest one for me, because obviously we need to make her comfortable in the situation, and also the view of ME in a professional and public eye. We need to prove to the people who are sceptical about it that it's something that really is affecting people and it's a serious thing.
So the main style of our documentary is going to be Laura as the main narrative. The interview style is going to be similar to the David May documentary, A Place Like This, with sort of close-ups of faces and emotion stirring, sort of capturing the emotions in the face. Also, we're going to take use the Salt of the Earth documentary with the cutaway style of archive footage with photos and videos to sort of emphasise what she's saying throughout her interview.
We were looking at some of the issues we might face when it comes to lighting and sound. Laura is very sensitive to light, so actually trying to get the right lighting in our room might be quite difficult. And also she's very quiet, and there's a lot of machinery in the room that we're going to have to take into account when trying to film her. So hopefully we can go down a day before so we can actually test all these things out, because it all depends on how she's feeling on the day. Because if she's feeling good, then she can allow more light on her, so we can actually try and light her up a bit better. So we're actually going to have to go down and actually test it all beforehand.
Also like it's going to be a problem with the tripod, because we have to film her really close because of the sound and because of the light. We have to put the tripod in a certain place, and she's also she's bedbound, so she cannot move from where she is. So we have to move the camera all around the world.
Laura is going to be the main character throughout the film. We will be mainly doing it by her interview and her narrative in first person, so she can really get across her story.
And she's captivating because she's a young, beautiful girl. All her life changed when she was 14 years old. Now she's bedbound, but she was going to be a normal teenager. Now all her life has changed, and it also affects her family, not only her family and his friends.
Other characters that we may include in the documentary are friends and family. If we have the footage, then we can actually use it if we want to. But I want to try and show different emotions and emphasise that she used to be like this outgoing, fun, bubbly girl, and actually now she's lost so much. Also, Millions Missing. There's a picture at the bottom here. It's a campaign where people put shoes out of people that can't get there, and they put a story on top of it. So this one's from a kid called Noah, and he's actually from Bristol, and he's been ill since he was 5 and severely ill since he was 7. And it just says about the fact that he misses going out with his friends and misses all that. So we want to address the bigger picture at the end of the documentary, because we don't want to make it just about Laura. I actually have someone that I know who did the Oxford Millions Missing called Lara, who I can get in contact with and have that all sorted out so we can use the pictures.
The target audience is going to be quite wide, as we think young adults will be quite interested in it, as Laura herself is a young adult. Therefore, it will be quite heartwarming for like other people to see how she lives, as opposed to what like other teenagers' lives are. But also for the older generations as well, as they might, like they say, have a sceptical view on the disease or just be interested in general about the disease and how it has, you know, really taken over someone's life.
Our subject is universal due to the estimated 17 million people suffering around the world at the moment. It's an ongoing thing. It will appeal because it's generally unknown by a lot of people, and the people who do know about it may have a sceptical view, and actually watching this may answer unknown questions or it might change their opinions, so we've got that conflict.
And it compels people because it's an emotional and interesting subject. Nobody knows what's ME until somebody tells them. It's not a common, really common disease.
Why us? Obviously, I'm Laura's brother, so I've grown up seeing her blossom, getting A stars, beating me at everything, to actually deteriorate to the point where we almost lost her last September in hospital due to an infection that her body couldn't fight. I know how the ME community want to be represented, and I feel like I can represent them how they want to, so that people can see that it's really severe, and how desperate they are for help and research to be done for them. We estimate we'll need 2 days on location at my home to film my sister. Obviously 1 day so we can test everything and make sure she's comfortable in anything we're going to do, and then to capture all the shots that we want to capture, so the interviews, the close-ups out further, and any shots of the room, Laura going along and seeing several other shots that we want to get to show her everyday living.
And for the post-production we'll need at least 2 weeks to deal with all the outfit and to get the look that we want.
Also, there's a lot of archive footage to go through. Obviously, Ben has lots of, you know, family photos of when she was younger, so I think that'd be really good to put in. So we're going to start looking at that now, so we know what we've got to work with to sort of get her interview to go back and sort of recap on her life before, and then show the archive footage to emphasise it.
That's just a bit about finance, of how much it may cost us.
Yeah, just sort of like a rough budget.
And there's just some list of charities that are fighting for ME at the moment that I thought I'd cover, just in case anyone wanted to do some looking into afterwards. So welcome any questions.
Good, really well presented, very professionally presented, good slides, good talking, good to hear you all talking, and Ben, your passion and commitment's about to shine through, and that's always a really attractive thing. If you're pitching something which is first and foremost predicated upon one individual, which this is, what you'd expect to see is a clip of them in every case, and that's not such a hard thing to obtain. A clip of Skype or of, you know, cell phone stuff or something is fine for that, but you would never go and pitch anything to broadcast about a central character without showing them the central character. So that's one thing I would do if I were you. Have a look. People can be lovely people, wonderful, captivating, completely rubbish on camera.
Yeah.
I'm one of them, I'm crap on camera. You probably will be as well because you think too much about it.
Yeah.
And it might be hard for her, given you're her brother, to lose the artificiality of the situation.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
So I would say include a clip of her. Also address this head on. You're dealing with a condition which is debilitating and kind of reduces people hugely into, you know, takes away their energy and their vroom and everything. That's quite a downer for a TV programme. How are you going to make your film vibrant and lively if the condition you're making it about is one which reduces people? It's why there's so few films on depression, because it's such a hard subject to make films on. Just think about how you give it that.
Yeah.
Also, harking back to what we said about the last one, if I say the conceit, I don't mean big-headed. If I say the conceit, do you know what I mean by that? Is there a neat idea, a neat metaphor in here, which enables you to tell the story? Because you've got something very attractive here. If you've got someone you know well, and you've got access to a personal archive of stuff from their past and things, you've got the opportunity to put together something really quite neat and clever. Do you remember there was that film a few years back of so-and-so, A Life Told Backwards, where it started in the present tense and went backwards? Is there anything you can do, given you've got a span of time, to make it clever and sharp and focused? Just think about a clever device to hold the whole things together rather than a straightforward linear progression. It might be the best way of doing it, I don't know, but just have a think about it. The Millions Missing project. I'm quite interested in that because you've got the opportunity. You're telling the story of one person, but you want to give the opportunity of scale as well.
Yeah.
So, and I guess you've got access to an awful lot of stills of people this time, which you could scatter through the programme in kind of chut like that. Maybe that gives you a metaphor to start filling in a screen of them. Yeah. Something like that. Just think about how to scale it up to make you realise how many people are affected. And last thing, have you talked to your mum and dad about it?
I've talked to my mum about it because my mum and dad are together, so I've talked to my mum about it.
Right.
And she's really on board with it.
She's cool.
Yeah, because I've been in contact with them recently, talking to Laura about what we want to do. Kind of like we've got a few questions we want to ask because it's so hard for her to actually think about things and like get words out. She struggles with that. She needs to like have time to think about it, but she's feeling better at the moment. So.
Does she have a physician who knows her best?
No, so this is a real issue. She's been to see several doctors, she's been all over the country getting tests done everywhere, here and there now, and there's no one that actually fully knows her. She always goes to, because they think it's psychiatry, she always goes to psychiatrists and she doesn't get along with them that well because she's got a lot of like other stuff going on. She finds them quite patronising or something. So there's no one that actually fully knows her. If anything, me and my mum are the best people who know her throughout her life. Does
your dad share the same perspective as you and your mum?
It's a tough one. My dad and my sister haven't spoken for about 10 years. So my dad is a little bit more annoyed about it because obviously there's some issues with that, like my sister won't mention my dad and all this other stuff, but that's not an issue in terms of he's on board for it to happen, but he doesn't talk to us, so he doesn't have the same view as my mum.
Okay. Right, thanks, and thanks for presenting. It's always tough presenting something personally, and you've done a good job bringing personal commitment to that, at the same time as presenting it more neutrally to an outside audience. So well done, Alison.
Yeah, no, I think I really agree, obviously, with everything. I thought it was a really good pitch. I really sense the passion and the love. It's a labour of love as well, so that's really coming across. One thing though, just from a practical point of view, have you got a contingency plan for if something happens where you can't, for some reason, film your sister or she's not feeling well? Is there for example, one slight contingency of perhaps if you do a voiceover at points where she'd like you to express something but she doesn't feel like it herself?
Yeah.
Is there a dialogue that might be an interesting route in where the empty spaces might tell us just as much as we need to know as the spaces that are filled with dialogue or responses? And if ultimately you can't film her, is there still a film?
If we can't film my sister, I know other people suffer with their needs. So for instance, we can't film my sister, but we can still have maybe some of her opinions and dialogue in there if we can. But for instance, the girl called Lara, who I'm in contact with, who organised Millions Missing, she's already said that we could interview her and do any filming with her. She's really happy to help out. The MD community, they're all linked online, so they all talk through Skype, Instagram, because they're all inside, they have another way of communicating with the outside world. So we could obviously do something through that with my sister's friends and that, try and actually talk to them, because she has friends all over the country and all over the world.
Well, one way in, which I sometimes find quite useful, is the camera over the shoulder when they're talking to someone else, but not the camera. If we want to experience a little bit of what it's like to be bedridden but have our social life conducted through Skype, for example, that's an interesting setup in itself. You're talking about setups. Filming her talking to her friends on Skype could be a nice way of finding out who she is without giving her that pressure of having to talk to the camera. So it's just something that you might think of other ways of getting to know her without actually pointing a camera at her. Yeah.
Alison makes a really, really good point. It's always got a plan B, yeah? You can't do plan A, and that's the obvious plan B. If she's that poorly, then what's going to happen? She just ain't up to filming. And I think it was May who said to you when you first pitched it that try and make it an I film from your sister's point of view. I'm not so sure about that now, so keep open-minded. So plan A might be to make it an I film. If that's not working, make it a personal film, but from your point of view. I would say, and where your sister is one of the missing millions. So you have all these photographs of people that my sister is missing. Here we are at the age of 5 playing in the garden, and my memories of her were this, that and the other. And use the archive to build up the portrait of her, but present her as one of the missing ones if she's not available to you. So keep your options open on that, your mind open, yeah? And you two as well. Bring the necessary objectivity to it, because it's Ben's family, that's personal. We have to look after those people, look after family, make sure nothing bad happens, but also bring a necessary objectivity and distance to it, yeah?
I was going to say something practical in my family. I was thinking, I did a short documentary about homeless people, and it was cool to organize and everything. When I went to deal with the homeless, I found it overwhelming because I didn't know how to act. I think in this case you might, especially you two, you might need to seek a little bit of professional advice on how, because otherwise if you feel sorry for the person or you don't know how to behave, she might feel again patronizing. And then you will probably leave the mood of the documentary if you are okay with her and she feels welcome and she feels fine with you. But if you are also not knowing how to behave, you might also drop the level, I think.
Yeah, seek advice, maybe get to know, but you're staying with the day before.
Yeah, that's what we were also thinking. Obviously, we're going to have dinner with them on the night before, and spend that day sort of sussing out the area and getting to know her and speaking to her, making sure she's comfortable with me and Jonas being around, obviously, 2 strangers.
I often keep my mobile phone nearby just to record voice, even if I'm not shooting someone. If there's some new topic comes up, not obviously without the person knowing, you know, but I do this a lot with my father who's very ill, and if I think he's going to talk about something that I think he's going to be giving me no's, I say, Dad, do you mind? I'm going to put the telephone next to you, it's recording your voice, is that okay? And he always says, I don't know why you want to record this, but you know, but then sometimes it's quite interesting if you want an archive of someone. So think of sound as well separate to image. Okay,
Ben, how old is your sister?
She's 23.
And you're 21, are you?
I am 20.
All right.